Conflict is often seen as something to survive or avoid, a storm to weather or a fire to douse. In Conflict Resilience, Robert Bordone and Joel Salinas argue that this view is both outdated and deeply harmful. Instead of resisting or repressing conflict, they show how we can grow through it, building stronger relationships, deeper self-awareness, and a greater capacity to thrive in uncertain, tension-filled environments. Conflict, they say, is not the opposite of peace, it's the path to it. The book begins with a high-stakes mediation session, a labor dispute at a New England hospital between nurses and administrators. Both sides have entrenched grievances and a long history of mistrust. But instead of focusing on the logistics of compromise, the mediators start with something radical. Each person is asked to describe a moment they felt unseen. Tears follow. So does laughter. The room changes. What had seemed impossible begins to feel negotiable. It's this transformation, not a legal tactic or persuasive trick, that the authors define as conflict resilience. Bordone, a negotiation expert, and Salinas, a neurologist and empathic communicator, bring together their distinct lenses to create a concept that blends interpersonal skill, emotional literacy, and somatic awareness. Their premise is that resilience in conflict doesn't mean shutting down, walking away, or overpowering. It means staying present, staying open, and staying whole. Early chapters explore why so many of us fear conflict. Culturally, we're taught to equate disagreement with disrespect, confrontation with failure. The authors revisit moments from their childhoods. Salinas, growing up in a Latinx family where emotional expression was layered with cultural expectations. Bordone, coming from a community where intellectual debate was prized but emotional nuance was neglected. They both carry defensive patterns into adulthood. Until they learned that avoiding conflict just created more of it beneath the surface. Through real-world examples, from family rifts to political polarization, they show how unresolved conflict drains not only relationships but resilience itself. Conflict takes a toll when we engage it from fear, rigidity, or reactivity. But when we develop what the authors call internal spaciousness, we can stay grounded in our values and open to others. This internal spaciousness becomes the foundation of what they term resilient dialogue. One of the book's strongest sections focuses on the neurobiology of disagreement. Salinas explains how our brains perceive disagreement as threat, triggering fight-flight-freeze responses before we even know it's happening. Through body-based practices like breath anchoring, name the sensation mapping, and even eye gaze regulation, the authors offer tools to help readers move from survival to curiosity in real time. These tools are not just calming techniques. They are bridges to deeper listening and more flexible problem solving. The book makes a strong case that conflict resilience is not a skill you pull out in high-stakes moments, it's a daily practice. The authors introduce a ritual called pre-disagreement reflection, in which people anticipate potential points of conflict and clarify what they want from the interaction emotionally, not just practically. The result is a profound reorientation. Conversations become opportunities to connect and learn, not win or control. Midway through, conflict resilience shifts its lens to group dynamics. The authors explore how teams and communities fall into conflict spirals when issues are personalized and structural context is ignored. Using case studies from corporate boards, city councils, and even activist circles, they show how durable teams create space for productive discomfort. This doesn't mean everyone agrees, it means people stay in the room, listen fully, and let discomfort inform growth rather than drive disconnection. There's a particularly moving chapter about a man named Isaiah, a former gang member turned community leader. He describes a confrontation with a local police officer during a community forum. Instead of reacting with anger, he tells the officer, "I came here to hear what scares you, too." That moment diffused years of mutual hostility and opened the door to collaborative programs between residents and law enforcement. "I didn't give in," Isaiah says. "I gave space." Throughout the book, Bordone and Salinas return to the idea that resilience in conflict means maintaining integrity without calcifying. This requires boundaries, but also compassion. It means being able to say, no, and tell me more, in the same breath. It means moving beyond zero-sum thinking into a place where multiple truths can coexist. This is especially relevant, they argue, in our era of social fragmentation and ideological rigidity. The authors don't shy away from tough conversations. They delve into racial justice dialogues, family estrangements over politics, and power-imbalanced workplace disputes. What's consistent in all these cases is the need to slow down, listen below the words, and stay rooted in one's own nervous system. This is not easy work, but it is transformative. In a standout section, the authors lay out their 4 anchors of conflict resilience. 1. Clarity of values, knowing what truly matters to you before entering a difficult conversation. 2. Self-regulation, cultivating body awareness and emotional stability in the moment. 3. Empathic listening, hearing more than the argument, hearing the fear, the hope, the need. 4. Creative integrity, holding your truth and remaining open to being changed. In the closing chapters, they apply their model to large-scale societal issues, political polarization, racial tension, climate negotiations. They make a bold but grounded claim: the survival of pluralistic democracy depends not just on policy but on the public's conflict resilience. In a world that seems increasingly fractured, the ability to stay in the room, with empathy, courage, and curiosity, may be the most important resilience of all. The book ends with an invitation, not a prescription. You don't have to like conflict, they write. You only have to believe that within it, there's something worth discovering. In that one sentence, they summarize the heart of the work, not just to help readers survive conflict, but to emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more connected than before.